Oh, it's that time again.
It's King Slayer Hoops, and we are back with another tutorial. Today we're going to do something that I've actually never done before, and what we're going to do is go over my settings. Now we're not going to do defensive settings because I have a whole other video for that, and I actually need some time to just figure out what the best defensive settings in this game are first, since the game's only been out for like 2 days. So let's jump right into it here with our settings. Now obviously to get to the settings menu, you're going to hit options on your controller. And by the way guys, I'm on a PS4, so if you have an Xbox, just convert whatever I'm saying to Xbox controls. Alright, so let's start off with our camera settings. So what I like to do is just the basic 2K camera view. I usually zoom all the way out and put the height as high as possible. Now, since the game is new and a lot of people are struggling with shooting, one thing that I might recommend is actually zooming in quite a bit so that you can see the shot meter a little bit better. That's just to start off though, because long term you want to be able to see the whole floor when you're running both your offense and your defense. So yeah, these are my camera settings. Alright, so now let's take a look at controller settings. So we're going to head right over there to controller settings. And these are probably the most important for actually playing the game. I like to turn my DualShock speaker off. That's a preferential thing. Vibration I like to keep on because it helps you with shooting. There's a little vibration right before your green window pops up, for those of you who don't know. Shot meter I'm leaving on for now until I get used to the shooting, but later in the year I am going to turn that off so that you get a shooting boost. Shot aiming is the new thing that everybody hates, the new shot mechanics with the right stick. I'm turning that off. So now when you use the right stick to shoot, when you hold it down, you don't have to worry about aiming it. You could just hold it down and shoot like you normally would. Free throw timing, I'm putting that on user timing as well. Putting the aiming off, again, because I don't want to aim it, I just want to hold it down and time it. Pro stick function, default, pro stick orientation. I would always recommend putting this on absolute. What that means is that, for example, when you're dribbling, if you tap if you tap down on the right stick, that's behind your player that you're controlling. If you're tapping forward on the right stick, that's forward for whatever direction he's facing. It doesn't matter where he is on the court. So I recommend absolute on the right stick. Call for pick and roll versus fade, you definitely want to have this on manual. When you hold down the L1 button and somebody comes over to set a screen for you, you can manually decide at that point whether you want them to roll or fade, but it shouldn't just be up in the air, up to the computer. That's ridiculous. Skip pass, I definitely keep this enabled. This is if you hold down the pass button, you'll pass to the farthest person across the court from you in the direction that you're pointing the left stick. So I don't use that too often, but it is helpful at times. Pro stick pass type, I just leave that on normal. Icon passing, this you want to leave on full receiver control, so make sure you change this. This makes your offense elite in many cases, and I'm going to show you what exactly this does. So normally, when you're icon passing in the game, you would tap R1 to decide who you want to pass to, right? And then you would tap, like let's say if I tap square, it's going to go to Tobias Harris there. But if I hold square in that case, when full receiver control is on, now I can actually control Tobias Harris for a couple of seconds instead of the ball handler. And that's really, really useful when you're running your offense, getting guys to cut, getting guys to go in the spots that you want them to go to. So keep full receiver control on. As for the regular receiver control, I like leaving handoff on. Because if you hold the circle button, you can do a little handoff action. If you guys have watched my videos in the past, you know I like doing that off of pick and rolls. Right here, you see hold circle and point to the player you want to pass to, and you'll get a little handoff action. Okay, and the only other thing in that menu that I really mess with is right here, the pass target direction. This is what I want the highest. I put that at about 75 or so. Pass target openness, I put that as low as possible, so that's at like 1, because I don't want the CPU deciding, like let's say I press left and then the pass button, I want my guy to pass directly to the left. I don't want the CPU deciding like, oh, there's a guy under the basket that's open, let me pass it to him. No, that's stupid. So that's why I leave my passing settings that way. So that's pretty much it for controller settings. Now, if you go up here to game plan, you have a few different options. Offensive settings, you can do a couple cool different things. I've showed you guys this in the past in previous iterations of 2K, but you can change the tempo. Keep in mind this does affect your fatigue. So obviously a high tempo, your fatigue is going to have more punitive results. You're going to get tired faster. With rebounding, same thing. There's an explanation right here of what this does. I usually leave it on neutral for the most part, unless I'm getting absolutely annihilated on the boards. Right here you could see freelances and play selection. Now in the play selection menu, this is where you can change those default plays to whatever plays that you want. And you can also, if you hit triangle at that point, you can decide who you want to run the play for, or who the main focus of that play would be. Okay, so if I want like Josh Richardson to be the focus there, I can select him and move on from there. Here are the freelances. I've gone over freelances in past 2Ks. Basically, it's the spacing and it's the default actions that your players are going to make without you calling a play. All right, so that's just something to keep in mind. Moving along here, coach settings. I always turn adaptive coaching engine off. You want to be in control of the coaching decisions that you make. You don't want the CPU deciding all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put you in a 2-3 zone out of nowhere. Or, oh yeah, I'm gonna have you run this play out of nowhere. You don't want any of that. And that's why timeouts and substitutions, I put both of those on manual. Offensive play vision, I put this on all plays so that I could see where my guys are going. That's basically the arrows on the ground when your guys are running a play or running a freelance. Play vision display, that's up to your preference. I like to keep it on light and full so that you can see everything. Play calling messages, same thing, that's up to you. I put show all on, but that doesn't really matter. Late game fouling, always put this on auto, because if not, if you need a score at the end of a game and your opponent has possession of the ball, you want to make sure that you foul them as soon as they inbound the ball. Team communication, I keep that off. Freelance series order, that's if you run series, which I don't really like series too much, but if you do have them on, I would put that on dynamic, and I would put that on repeat on success as well. Don't worry too much about that. If I'm confusing you guys on the series thing, you don't have to run series. That's just a more technical thing. Help defense, I don't really mess with this stuff too much. Sometimes if I see that that somebody needs help, I'll go in the individual defensive settings and mess with it there. But right now, don't worry about that. And the last thing that I wanted to show you guys is that you can change your playbook to whatever team you want. Now, this is only in Play Now Online, and I think at a certain point in mycareer, you can do this as well, and in my league. Now, in my team, this is not going to work, obviously, because they want you to spend MT on all the different playbooks, right? But for Play Now, mycareer after a certain point, and my league, you can always change your playbooks while you're in the game. And guys, that's pretty much it for today. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out a great deal. I'll be back with a lot more tutorials this year. And until next time, happy gaming, y'all.